How's everybody doing today? I am the Redneck Gamer, and today we are going over the military leaders for Battlestar Galactica. So these are, including all expansions, every military leader that is available in the game. William Adama, Sultai, Karl Agathon, Helen Kane, Felix Garcia, Louis Hoshi, and Tom Zarek. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through what the card draws are, what their abilities are, break down each character, and kind of say what I think about them, who are the best as military leaders, who are the best general characters, who are the worst in the category, and just everything I can go over here. Now, just as a note, this is one of the easier categories to play, simply because the Admiral really only has two big decisions, and neither one of them is. Both of them are going to come up at specific times. It's not going to be like when you're playing President, where you have to make some very difficult decisions on your turn. A lot of military leader is you doing military stuff. Pretty much the advantage is you get nukes if you're the Admiral. Let's begin with William Adama. 3 leadership, 2 tactics, inspirational leader. This is actually a really strong one, specifically as a human, when it is your turn. So when you draw the crisis card, automatically every strength 1 skill card is positive, which I have legitimately seen swing from an 8 up to like a 14. It's pretty insane. And then command authority. This one, it's good, but it's only really good if used early. And that is once per game, or after resolving the skill check, he draws all the cards into his hand instead of discarding them. With a hand limit of 10, it's not that useful later in the game. Early in the game, it's incredibly useful, especially if there's a lot of not leadership or tactics cards in there. That's the main downfall with military leaders, is they're kind of out of it for a lot of skill checks. Is negative, emotionally attached. The group I play with, I never really see Admiral's Quarters used that much. Sultai. Flip Adamas, so you get 2 leadership, 3 tactics. His Cylon Hatred. When Admiral's Quarters is activated, you can choose to reduce it by 3. Declare martial law. This one's big. Once per game, give the president title to the Admiral. This one is huge. If you are the only military leader and you are the Cylon, you can pull both titles for yourself, and as long as it's sufficiently screwed over for the humans, there's no recovering from it. They can't do anything to get the title away from you until you decide to reveal. If you are a human and you're figuring out that the president is a Cylon, it's also very powerful. You can now ensure that both titles are in human hands. Sultai is a hard one to play effectively, but that ability is extremely powerful. But he is an alcoholic, so if he has exactly 1 skill card in his hand at the start of anyone's turn, he has to discard it. Again, that one's pretty meaningless, because except maybe at the start of the game, if you're not first player at the start of the game, it might come up, but I've almost never seen that actually be a thing. And that brings us to the last of the originals, Karl Agathon. He draws 2 leadership, 2 tactics, 2 piloting. He is one of about half of the military characters that actually get something that's not leadership or tactics. This specific version of Hilo is one of the best characters in the game, much less as a military leader. As an ECO officer, he can reroll a die that was just rolled, only one per turn though, and they have to use the new result. He's also the moral compass, so after a decision is made on a crisis card, he can decide he doesn't want to go with that decision, which again is super powerful as both human and Cylon. As human, you can take that power away from a Cylon, or even just knowing that power is there will deter a Cylon from really trying to screw people over on a crisis card for them. As a Cylon, you can now screw everybody, or you can now make the worst decision, especially if your turn is next, and then you reveal and they're screwed over even worse. And he also has one of the weirdest starting scenarios in the game, and that's his negative trait with Stranded. He's not placed on the board at the start of the game, and because he's not on the board, he can't move, be moved, or take an action. However, that he does still draw his skill cards, and he does still draw a crisis card. So he gets basically half a turn. He gets to draw his cards, and then he gets to do a crisis. That's pretty much everything he gets to do. Next we have Helen Kane. Much like Laura Roslin, if she is in the game, she is Admiral. No matter what, she is Admiral if she's in the game. 2 leadership, 2 tactics, and then you get to choose between the 2 for the last one. Her abilities for Intolerant, Admiral's Quarters, Skill Check. If it's passed with 10 or more, she comes with Pegasus, so executions are a thing. You may choose to execute that character instead of just sending them to the brig. If they are for sure a Cylon, this is very powerful. If you are a Cylon, this is also extremely powerful because you just forcibly got rid of a human. Blind Jump is once per game. If you're at a distance of 6 or less, you can draw 2 civilian ships and destroy them to immediately jump the fleet, and you just choose, or the Admiral just chooses a destination card. If it is used in a strategic way, that is a very powerful ability. I've never personally seen it used, but I've played this game enough to know what could and would happen in that event. That will either make or break the game. And it's a little bit of a crapshoot, but if you're strategic about it enough and you have the resources to spare, this can win you the game as humans. It can also win you the game immediately as a Cylon by resource depletion. Can't activate either FTL or engine room. Not really that big a deal. She's more focused on shooting stuff, for lack of a better term. Up next, we have my personal favorite military leader, Felix Garcia. 2 tactics, 1 engineering, and 2 in leadership and politics. Again, one of the most diverse card draws in the game. So he is useful pretty much everywhere. Pretty much the only thing he can't do is fly a Viper. As an FTL operator, he can reroll a die when FTL control is used. And once per game, even if he's in the brig, he can take the Admiral title. And if he is in the brig, then he moves himself to command before he takes the title. So he's got his own, he has his own version of a get out of jail free card. He does get one of the title cards in the process. Misguided, cannot play more than 3 skill cards into a skill check. Realistically, unless it's one that you have to pass right now, then you're not going to be playing more than 3 into a skill check anyway. Realistically, probably more than 2, unless you have cards to burn. He's kind of broken, if you ask me. He is amazing as a general character, and he is extremely dangerous as a Cylon, simply because he can get himself out of jail. Next, on to the Who's That Guy? Louis Hoshi. Generally speaking, everybody I've talked to that knows about this game hears the name Hoshi, they're like, who? Or even for the show, they're like, who? But he's pretty good too. 2 leadership, 2 tactics, 1 engineering, so not as diverse as Gata, but still pretty diverse. Once per turn, if you activate command, or comms, or weapon control, you can discard a skill card to activate that location again. So again, that's very powerful, as human or super sleuth or super sneak Cylon. Because doing that is a really good way to cast suspicion off of you that you are expending yourself to try and further the human cause. So you're either through and through human, or you're one of two Cylons. You're either the crap Cylon that doesn't know how to play, so they just help humanity the whole way, or two, you're that super sneaky Cylon that's waiting for something really bad to happen before you start screwing humanity over. You're organized once per game. If you're not in the brig, you can activate any 3 undamaged locations. Again, game breaking as far as an ability goes. You could potentially win the game just based off of this ability. Then we come to military Tom Zarek. I stress military because there is another version of him, which see another video for that. 2 politics, 2 leader, 2 leadership, 2 tactics, which oddly enough is actually the same card draw as his other version. Decent card draw, not going to help you a whole lot in certain respects, but it's not the worst out there. Necessary steps: each time a player draws a mutiny card, or you instead look at the top 2 cards of the mutiny deck, give one to the player and place the other at the bottom. Mutiny cards are a little weird because they have a negative aspect and a positive aspect, so you're doing something bad to try and affect something good. If you have a smart military Zarek player, then they can try, or then when hopefully the person who gets the mutiny card will be a couple turns ahead, and they can try and mitigate, or they can talk everybody into mitigating ahead of time whatever the negative aspect is, or to get the benefit but neutral as far as the negative goes. Or a smart Cylon military Zarek player will try and exploit the negative covertly, because there's not really a way anybody else is going to know. He's alright. He's a good alternative if you're wanting to try somebody new. So going back out to everybody, my choices for the best. The best as Admiral: Kane, Hilo, and a toss-up between these 2. As a general character, I can't go with anybody outside of these 3. Or if I'm given the choice and I'm not told I have to choose somebody new, I will go with one of these 3 every single time. Situationally, both of these guys are good. Situationally, he's good. She's good most of the time, but she's very one-track minded, and if you go outside of that track, you're a Cylon. These 3 guys have so much diversity in what they can do. None of them can do what the other ones can do. Neither of these 2 can fly. He can't do anything with engineering. Neither one of these guys can do nearly what he can as far as activating stuff goes. He's the only one who can really try and counter a strong Cylon or be effective as a brigged Cylon. And that is about everything I have to say on that topic. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. If you want to see more like this in the future, then hit the subscribe button and be sure to tick the notification bell, because YouTube isn't the best about sending you the alerts whenever videos are uploaded. If you want to see games like this live, the link to my Twitch channel is in the description below, twitch.tv/redneckgamer92. But that is everything I have time for today. I wish everybody the best, and I will see you in the next video. May the Force be with you as you live long and prosper. So say we all.